Hello, it's Sam again, coming at you with episode 2 of my challenge game development series. I actually have a lot to share with you today because I've made some pretty big progress since the since yesterday. So we're just going to go ahead and dive into this. As you can see, not much has changed other than this is bigger, but I have an explanation for that. When you press space, you will equip this little hat. This is temporary. It's just to signify that you are now in builder mode. Now, in builder mode, you can go ahead and modify the grid here by placing down building prefabs. So you can turn it on and off like so. While in builder mode, you can left click anywhere on the grid and it will attempt to place a building. Now, as you can see, the numbers here have changed from -1 to 1. The new number is actually the ID of this building. Every building has a unique ID upon placement, which just increments up from 1 going on forever. And at the moment, it doesn't really serve any real purpose for it to be set to an ID. It's just in case I need to make things easier on myself in the future. You can actually collide with this, of course. The barn itself doesn't actually do anything. It's just a placeholder. I have actually made it so you can traverse on the front because I think I would like to make this an isometric perspective, but we'll worry about that on a later date. So to actually remove these buildings, you just make sure you're in builder mode, and then you right-click on the building that you want to remove. And now it's gone. So the area that it was sitting on has been set back to -1, signifying the area is free. So I can then put a new one there. So this one is 2 because the ID has incremented up from the last object that I placed. And I can do this as much as I want. However, I cannot place things in occupied spaces or off the bounds. So for instance, if I wanted to place a building here, I would not be allowed to do so. If I wanted to place one down here, well, I can't do that because it's off bounds. However, I can put one here because it is completely free. It isn't being occupied by any of these buildings. And yeah, it just does that. So let's go ahead and remove all these here. Now, I actually had some difficulties going ahead and setting up this whole thing. So I'm actually going to jump into the code here and show you. This here is the matrix script. It is quite complicated, and it is based upon CodeMonkey's grid tutorial. I have slightly modified it to suit my purposes because this is going to be the same grid that both buildings and pathfinding occurs on. This is another script that was somewhat taken from him. And then you have placeable, which is simply just a little bin to store information about a building prefab in, as well as a building upon being placed. This is irrelevant. This was just to test the grid for earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. And this here is build mode. So how this works is that whenever you left click, the game will scan the area in which the building would occupy if you were to place it with its origin, the bottom left corner, in this spot. If it is possible to put something there without going out of bounds or overriding anything other than -1, it will then place the building and then iterate through every cell starting from the origin point up to this point. Now, I am probably going to change it in the future so the origin point of the building will be calculated either from the middle of the mouse or from the corner, but for now, this is just a placeholder. And as you can see, there's also no highlight or ghost building, as I like to call it, so I need to implement some more visual feedback, but so far, I am very happy with these results. This is a pretty critical moment for the game to actually be successful, so I'm very happy with how it turned out. That's all I have to show you for the day. I will see you tomorrow.